Hello everybody, Briefcase here, bringing you another game of Ancient Trials. This time it is between Cupcakes and McRoberts High in a best of one, simple just one match at the moment to decide who is going to be placed third in the brackets for this tournament. So far, looks like we started a little bit late. Nonetheless, we are getting and going. And if anybody recalls, the games between McRoberts High and Cupcakes in the past have been very, very good indeed. So hopefully we can see some really nice gameplay in this one as well. Now we have McRoberts High has banned out Naga Siren right off the bat, not wanting to fall prey to any of those very strong combos revolving around Siren Song, of course, while you have Cupcakes banning out Elder Titan now themselves. I suppose, of course, very, very strong. Has sort of fallen off in competitive. Used to be incredibly scary. As soon as he was ported into Captain's mode, people just had no idea how to actually fight against him. And not only that, people considered him a little bit overpowered. But of course, since 6.79, that Astral Spirit no longer hits for what it was like 280 at the beginning. I think it hits for only 50, 100, 150, 200 now, so has been nerfed. Still though, he has his natural ordered passive aura, which is just so strong in the mid game and even into the late game, where maybe not everybody has picked up an armor item or picked up a hood yet or anything like that, so he can be still very scary, very hard to deal with, and can really front load the damage with the rest of his team in the mid game. So he has been taken out. However, Roberts High now has banned out Shadow Fiend, not wanting to go up against him mid. Maybe going to be choosing something a little safer mid because of that, something like a Dragon Knight, who can actually have a fairly hard time against a Shadow Fiend with the amount of burst that he can throw out. Cupcakes now has banned out OD themselves. Looks like they want to open that mid pool wide open for everybody, and of course that leaves Lich, just the prince of 6.79 lately, with Sacrifice, is just being so good at giving every lane that you put him in such an advantage. Not to mention you can sack in the mid lane to give him that innate advantage. If you want to do some sort of weird janky combo with Enchantress, you can do that as well. But overall, just really denies whatever lane he's in a lot of experience and just gives it to your team nonetheless. So it's very, very strong no matter where you put him, and of course a very strong pickup in and of themselves right now. So McRoberts High looking good at the moment. Interested to see exactly who Cupcakes will take, but of course now they do pick up a Crystal Maiden. Not sure how I feel about that. Of course, is a frosty component just like Lich, a very good support, if not pretty much the quintessential support. Has not been changed too much and is just great at what she does. But not sure if you use her as a first pick when it comes right down to it. You can usually let Crystal Maiden slide throughout the picks and bans process. Most people are not going to ban her out. They'll ban someone like Lich out most definitely. Maybe picking Crystal Maiden up simply because they don't want McRoberts High to have her. Not entirely sure. Haven't caught every game between these two teams, but usually you do not see Crystal Maiden being picked up as a first pick. Maybe a third, probably a fourth or fifth when you just leave the supports out there. And not sure how I feel about this, of course, with Lich supporting, or even going mid as Lich, very viable as well. I mean, Lich does not need a lot of mana regen innately, simply because of Sacrifice, and he can just spam his Frost Blast as much as he wants along with sacrificing everybody. So I mean, Crystal Maiden is not the natural support in addition that you want to pick up if you are McRoberts High, but of course does work very nicely with Juggernaut, of course, one of the oldest dual lanes in the game. Crystal Maiden, you throw that Frostbite, you let Juggernaut get that early spin off. Maybe Juggernaut even picks up an innate boots at the very, very start, just to guarantee he gets a full spin duration on anybody, and that's a lot of damage to front load on somebody. What is that, 400 from spin if you land the entire thing? Finish sitting about 500, a few right clicks in there, and most anybody will be falling to that. Not to mention that Crystal Maiden's passive mana regen for Juggernaut is just a godsend. He does not really have that much intelligence in this game, does not have the best intelligence gain by any means, and can have a fairly hard time constantly using his spells. Now we have McRoberts High has been out Visage and Silencer, two heroes that might put a pretty big damper on Lich, of course. However, Lich's Chain Frost would do quite a bit of damage to Visage, at least early on when Gravekeeper's Cloak is not that high up in points. Visage was recently nerfed. No longer does he have the normal amount of magic resistance. I think it's down to 10, in fact, so... But of course, as that Gravekeeper's Cloak was picked up, Lich doing less and less damage to him with that Chain Frost Viper as well. Now we have Cupcakes has banned out Darkseer, banning out a lot of these team fight heroes. McRoberts High has also banned out some good team fight heroes as well, but really limiting exactly who McRoberts High has for them to initiate with at the moment. Viper not so good at doing that. Lich can throw out a Frost Blast, but does not have the best time of doing that. And now Clockwork has been banned out by Cupcakes as well, really trying to limit the initiations. Of course, Elder Titan very good at that as well. If you get a nice Echo Stomp, throw out a Split Earth as well, it really does zone people out. And not to mention just the possibility of an OD Astral really setting everything up can be horrible for a team to go up against.
5 seconds remaining.
But now McRoberts High, of course, they do have a Viper, will more likely than not be run mid. It does kind of put the kibosh on quite a few popular mid heroes. Not so much your Puck, maybe a little bit more your Queen of Pains. If you get Corrosive Skin early, Shadow Strike, all it does is do pretty much more damage to Queen of Pain than it would ever do to you. And that's a very good trade for Viper, who just loves to have the opposing heroes at low health, or at least at medium health. Of course, will not have nearly as much rune control as either Puck or Queen of Pain, but nonetheless, a fairly strong mid hero, can be run in either of the lanes as well if they want him to. And now Weaver being picked up by Cupcakes, pretty much the favorite, if not the best off laner who can kind of snowball into a carry whenever he wants. And a Timbersaw being picked up now by McRoberts High. An interesting pickup, of course, can be run as a solo off lane if that's how they want to run him. Can be run as a mid as well, pretty successfully with a couple points in reactive armor, making sure he has the sustain to pretty much go up against any mid lane hero that will normally be picked up. But this Weaver pickup, along with the Juggernaut, might be a little difficult at the moment for McRoberts High to actually deal with. Of course, Timbersaw does have a lot of burst damage at his disposal to take care of Weaver and Juggernaut once he isn't spinning. But if we look at what McRoberts High as far as what they have right now for stuns, for disables to actually take a Weaver out of a fight, take a Juggernaut and stun him, I mean, they don't have very much at their disposal at the moment. They have a lot of slows. You got your Viper slow, you got your Lich constant slows, of course, but they don't have any way to actually lock Weaver down at the moment. And of course, Doom now being picked up by Cupcakes, I think a very nice pickup will actually completely and utterly destroy Timbersaw with Doom. Will make sure he is pretty much useless in every fight that he gets doomed in. And not only that, can really just be selective about who he dooms. If Lich has not thrown Chain Frost out yet and you know a big team fight's coming out, you just doom him at the beginning. Timbersaw will still be an issue, but you might be able to deal with him a little bit better than one Chain Frost. And if Doom can get out those dooms quick enough, I mean, this could be the game right there. But of course, Timbersaw so susceptible to being doomed. Pretty much everybody, of course. But Timbersaw very, very much indeed will have no damage as well as no means of escape. And with Doom now being picked up by Cupcakes means that they can't get a Doom themselves, McRoberts High. So of course, Weaver and Juggernaut will be all that much safer to run around the field and pretty much never be stunned and just be able to get off whatever they want. Shikuching away, of course, time-lapsing whenever he wants. They really do need to pick up some guaranteed stuns, and Rubik now being picked up by McRoberts High, my favorite hero in the game, and there's one of those nice guaranteed stuns that they really do need. Not only that, can steal some other abilities from these other heroes to lock down Weaver and Juggernaut. Crystal Maidens Frostbite, of course, can do that as well. If he does get Rubik with a Shikuchi from Weaver is very, very scary. Just the amount of ground he can cover with that max move speed and invisibility can be very scary. Can set up some very nice ganks for himself as well. So I think we're really going to need to see some very nice play out of this Rubik to see any kills happen on Weaver or Juggernaut, assuming that they play a little conservatively and they play a little bit safe. Not to mention that if Rubik can steal a Doom for himself, that would absolutely be lovely, and I'm sure that's exactly what he wants. Now Cupcakes has banned out Spectre, one of the latest game's carries in the entire game, of course. McRoberts high now. They really do need to pick up another carry here. Viper is only a semi-carry. He's fairly good, but he's not a Spectre. He's not a Juggernaut as far as late gamery goes. He's definitely not like a PL or that sort of thing. Of course, PL still is available here, and not sure exactly who McRoberts High will ban out. Crystal Maiden will be supporting. Doom is usually kind of a jungle utility hero, can be used as a carry as well. And so who exactly do you want to limit? Actually picks the Invoker now, realizing that, you know what? Cupcakes doesn't really have an incredibly strong mid hero. Weaver can run that position if they need him to, but will usually just be planted in the off lane, going to be going solo, getting all the experience he could ever want, and it's always being fairly safe early on. So I mean, I'm not sure exactly who Cupcakes is going to pick up here. They more than likely need another support here. Of course, Doom and Juggernaut can transition into carries, Weaver as well. But who do you pick up? You don't have any sort of big combos. You do need maybe a little bit more stuns. And there's that mid hero that I mentioned before. So not too many supports coming out from Cupcakes, but they do get that nice mid hero. Storm Spirit can actually give Timbersaw a run for his money, seeing as how most of his damage does indeed come from spells. You have that static remnant, of course, doing quite a bit of damage early on. That is a lot of magic damage for a level 1 spell, not to mention Overload being very useful for him as well. And Chaos Knight, of all people, being picked up by McRoberts High, and I actually quite like this as a carry hero for them at the moment. Very nice pickup. Has a stun to deal with Weaver and Juggernaut if needs be. If Juggernaut is spinning, you just pop Chaos Knight's ultimate, and you just Phantasm into him, doing quite a bit of damage. And of course, that makes things a little bit harder for Juggernaut to basically guarantee himself spinning away and just getting away. So, very nice pickup by McRoberts High in that last little moment there. And as far as who is playing who, we have Nathaximus playing as the Weaver. Cora is going to be the Crystal Maiden. Of course, we have Bowie as Storm Spirit, going to be going mid more likely than not. Princess Heart going to be playing as the Doom, and it looks like Tilted actually going bot solo here. Very odd, I must admit. Usually you see Juggernaut as well as Crystal Maiden, a very quintessential, very old combo in lane. Nonetheless, you have Tilted going bot as Juggernaut. We have Laurie as the Chaos Knight on for McRoberts High. We have Rumpelstiltskin being Lich. Looks like he is going to be maybe scouting out mid just a bit, putting that nice offensive ward there, scouting everything out for his teammate. Viper, of course, Slum of the Earth, going mid. We also have Shazam as Timbersaw going up top. Looks like he's going to be maybe going solo. Not sure yet where Rumpelstiltskin will be going. And we have Slumsational backing up Laurie on the bot, and of course with these two guaranteed stuns, despite having a spin to his name, this Blade Fury, I mean, Juggernaut Tilted is going to have to be very careful here. Looks like Princess and Bowie and Cora, almost all of them trying to guarantee as good of a block as humanly possible here for the mid, and yet they can't quite do it. Maybe just letting this ranged creep get as far ahead as humanly possible so it dies all that much sooner. Nonetheless, however, it will be getting attacked a little bit. If there's a little bit of creep control from Slum of the Earth, however, he does pick that off very easily. Actually gets a level 1 poison attack, wants to be a pretty aggressive here. Pretty hard to be aggressive against a Storm Spirit, however, of course, Static Remnant, so strong at just denying people getting in your face. And of course, the double damage rune is here. Everybody has to be aware of this. It looks like Viper actually opting to get 2 Slippers of Agility, making his last hitting just that ever bit so much slightly better than Storm Spirit has one. And it actually looks like Cora, as well as Princess, are both jungling here. Of course, Korra's Frostbite, if you didn't know, the max duration, I think it's 5 seconds on creeps. Ooh, 10 seconds on creeps. It actually does 700 damage at level 1 to every creep, as it has the same damage per second. Doesn't matter. All that leveling it up does is increase the amount of time that it lasts on heroes. So it will always do 700 damage to creeps. So you can actually jungle as Crystal Maiden, I wouldn't say super efficiently, but somewhat efficiently. And now, because of this, 3 heroes here are going to be getting solo EXP, or at least Tilted will be trying to. He needs to be the most careful here. Nathaximus will be getting all the solo XP he could possibly want. And it looks like Princess is just going to be cleaning up these hard camps that Korra, the Crystal Maiden, is supplying. And let's see if indeed Slum of the Earth does see him. Korra is actually getting there. Slum of the Earth not realizing this yet. There is no Static Vortex yet, or I should say Electric Vortex, indeed. And now Slum of the Earth will fall here. And I think maybe just a little bit of a misplay by Slum of the Earth there in the mid. I mean, they have this ward right here that definitely does spot out Crystal Maiden. This was a double damage, not an invisibility, so just not being too aware here, and Buey getting a nice free little Static Remnant on him, but being a bit too ballsy and has to stem Static Remnant away, and it looks like he will fall to poison. Gets a little bit of damage on Slum of the Earth, but of course, throwing down a Static Remnant right here, folks, as soon as somebody ports in, you gotta realize that they're still gonna have that fountain regen on them, so it's not even gonna do its full amount of damage, because they're just gonna regen probably at least half of it up early on. And now Tilted needs to be a little bit more careful here. Of course, he has gotten that early healing ore instead of Blade Dance, which means that he does have quite a bit of sustain in lane for himself. So he should be doing alright. Laurie, however, though, has picked up his Bracer recipe. It looks like it's slowly faring towards him. Slumsational now looks like he's trying to pull, but of course, and stack very, very difficult with this Hill Troll Priest creep that exists here. They did deward, but this one creep, it just never wants to leave lane. All it wants to do is heal its buddies, and once it does that, it can be very, very annoying for himself. It looks like Tilted, though, not being denied too much experience here. Has already hit level 4. Once he does hit 6, he's going to get that much scarier with this Omni Slash, and he, of course, is out-leveling Laurie at the moment. And now, indeed, it looks like Korra might be rotating mid again, trying to set up another gank on Slum of the Earth, and he should see this. I mean, they have vision here. There, somebody does indeed ping it for him. CK does. Laurie. And Buey just having a, I wouldn't say commanding lead, he's actually just doing, they're going tit for tat in the mid here, 13-14 last hits to 1, but of course, you have Buey, I was going to say he got that first blood, but, I mean, that was answered pretty quickly by Slum of the Earth's kill on his own, his nice solo kill on Buey, so pretty even so far in this game, nobody really coming out ahead at the moment. If we look at the top up here, Shazam is farming fairly well. Weaver not having a great time, however. Nathaximus, though, he wants to be able to find more farm, but of course with the constant harass coming out of Rumpleslumpskin, with Sacrifice spam, with Frost Blast spam, it's going to be actually very difficult for the Nathaximus to get a big lead in experience, despite being Weaver, of course. He's just going to get constantly denied, at least to some degree, and he's probably not going to be able to actually deal much with any of the heroes up here. Of course, you can't really harass Shazam. He's got 1 point in reactive armor. He'll just sustain. He knows that if he actually does Shikuchi in, and Shazam is quick enough on his fingers, he's going to get Whirling Death, which is a lot of damage for Weaver to take, not to mention constant Frost Blast by Rumpleslumpskin, at least to just get him out of lane and push him out. It's going to be very hard for him to actually stay in lane. Nonetheless, has been doing fairly well, but he's not getting the farm that a Weaver really needs and wants in a lane. Korra now has smoked up here. Not sure if Slum of the Earth realizes it. Korra, though, does pop in, gets 1 Crystal Nova. It's not going to be enough, however. It looks like Buey going in, but they don't have enough. And, of course, with Corrosive Skin at level 2, that is a 15% more magic resistance, and that's going to make his life a little bit easier. But Buey really wants to he has popped the Hasten, though. Slum of the Earth, though, Corrosive Skin doing a lot of work for him here. Buey, though, does get hurt quite a bit. It looks like he will be able to get out of this one alive, but of course you have Rumpleslumpskin waiting in the wings, knowing that there is no more mana in this Storm Spirit to ult out of that one. Looks like Slumsational now trying his very best to keep Tilted out of range, but he has hit 6. Lara now has only hit level 5. This is when you want Tilted to be going around, maybe setting up some ganks around town. Of course, he doesn't seem to be getting as much farm as he would have liked here at the moment. And from the looks of it, it looks like McRoberts High finding the gold, finding the farm that Cupcakes simply isn't at the moment. Tilted though, however, of course, with this Omni Slash, doesn't actually have enough extra stat points in his intelligence to actually do a Blade Fury Omni Slash combo at the moment. And there is an invisibility rune here. He realizes it. If he could grab that, he could set up a very nice gank on pretty much anybody in any one of these lanes. Or now, as well as Princess. Princess actually opting to get a Soul Ring. Of course, a nice amount of regen under his belt can always guarantee that he has enough to devour 2 Scorched Earth. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. And now it looks like Slum of the Earth is level 7, has picked up an invisibility rune of his own, has actually got a lot of points in the Nether Toxin, and he should be wanting to go down here onto Tilted. Has Tilted regened enough mana? Doesn't actually have any wand charges though. Slumsational though. Oh, one auto attack would have done it. Actually does get it now, however, and he gets an ult off, but Buey is here. It's not going to be enough for Chaos Knight to get out of there. And now 2 kills going for Cupcakes in this game, and Laurie feeling not too good. Tilted feeling a little bit better about his lane, and that's going to give him the phase boots that he will so want, unless of course he does go treads. Not sure at the moment. Now looks like we have Korra looming up top, trying to set up a little bit of a gank here, but of course Weaver is not known for his burst damage early on, basically just known for his survivability. He's not going to be having too good of a time up here, and it looks like Korra obviously deciding that this is not a good use of Korra's time, not a good use of her time at all, and with those few kills going on there, we see now that the difference in gold actually going a little bit. It's still in favor of Cupcakes at the moment, which is a little bit surprising to me, honestly, but there's those 2 kills, guaranteeing that that goes a little bit more in their favor, and now getting a nice ward kill. That's 50 gold for Korra, and every support loves actually finding those wards. It now looks like Tilted, however, needs to be a bit more careful here. Of course, you will get slowed down. Doesn't have a TP available to have a Blade Fury TP party, and now he's got to run out. He's going to get stunned a bunch here, but of course, you have Slum of the Earth is throwing that ult. It will still affect you. Won't do the damage, but will slow you enough, and now Tilted giving up an easy kill there on the bot to McRoberts High. It was actually, if you think about it, was way farther down here than he should have been. They have no vision in this jungle. Viper was out of lane. They knew he didn't have a Shadow Blade or anything like that, but he wasn't really seen. And now looks like Korra wants to set something up on Rumpelstiltskin. He is a little bit out of position here, but there is no follow-up by Nathaximus. They just do not have the damage up top here to really make anything happen. And Princess hasn't quite hit level 6 yet. You really do want to hit 6 as Doom and to set up some nice big ganks on your own, but can't quite do it yet, however, and is just going pretty much the pure farming build. Has actually eaten a Wildkin. Of course, if you do use that Tornado, you can stack this big camp as many times as you possibly can, usually 5 or 6. Now it looks like Tilted, though, trying to get a kill on Laurie. Does get stunned, a nice 3-second stun. Does get telekinesis away. He really wanted to be there to get an Omni Slash out onto him, but couldn't quite make it happen in time. Slum of the Earth, though, doing fine in the mid. Buey doing not too bad as well. Actually has a double damage rune popped as well. And now he wants to go on Slum of the Earth. He does indeed get him. He does get that Electric Vortex, and now just ulting around, and that's going to be a nice free kill for this Storm Spirit. Good job for him. He's got to love that. And now a couple of smokes being bought out by Korra. Really want to set up a few ganks here, and it looks like Weaver is actually going to have a very difficult time laning up against a Timbersaw. Of course, as soon as Timber does get that Chakram, it was recently nerfed from 75 to 100 mana. It still just does so much damage for its mana. 200, pretty much guaranteed for just sticking it out. And now Nathaximus needs to be very careful here. They're trying to guess exactly where it is, and a Chain Frost going down. The Weaver falls immediately. Princess is here, though. Is there a Doom? Not so much. And Shazam cleans up with his Timber Chain. Is that a huge amount of minus armor? It's not going to be enough. Still wants to go on Korra. Has a Chakram, however. He only has a Whirling Death available as well, but it's not going to be enough. And now he will be getting out of there alive. Buey had a TP available, not to mention an Illusion Rune. And if Shazam had stayed, that probably would have been another pickup for Buey. And if we look at the gold graph again, it looks like still slightly in favor of Cupcakes at the moment. They are finding some nice pickoffs here. More likely than not, I thought it was actually McRoberts High with the better farm, but nonetheless, a pretty nice up and down experience graph. Still incredibly close for everybody at the moment. Tilted now is rotating mid. He has his ult, he has his spin available, and of course Buoy is here, and Slum of the Earth is nowhere near any creeps. That's going to be an easy kill for these heroes. And I think that more likely than not, this gold graph just showing you these nice gank setups by Cupcakes at the moment. McRoberts High, I think farming maybe a little bit better. Of course, you have Laurie down here farming his little heart out as much as he possibly can. But there is just so much more activity going on by Cupcakes as a team. Slumsational, of course, is going to be rotating here. He picks up a Sakuchi. More likely than not, has indeed, and that's going to be very nice for a Rubik to have. But some nice ganks being thrown out by this dire team at the moment. Tilted even getting in on the ganking action. Rotating mid, you have Korra, who's basically just been a roaming Crystal Maiden and doing that job very nicely. Hellbear there, just being frozen in place for all eternity and having a really hard time. And of course, Crystal Maiden, very nice play by Korra. Something I think we should really pay attention to is she is making all the space in the world for her main heroes. You have your Buoy picking up a lot of nice kills there, a lot of farm. Nathaximus doing A-OK as well. And now Buoy picks up a double damage. Slum of the Earth, though, very in dangerous weather. Rumpelstiltskin wants to run in. Chain Frost is not available, however, does get doomed in case he still had it. Slum of the Earth does run in. Princess is going to fall here. Buoy is up top, throwing down some nice damage. And it looks like Korra now a little bit out of position. Slumsational is going to be doing his job. Korra falling as well. Buoy has the double damage. He wants to go in. He is using those charges of the bottle to get a little bit up there. Slum of the Earth now, a few sentries being thrown down. They are going to get an easy D-ward there as well. And it looks like Buoy still having this double damage. They really want to make something happen. Nathaximus, though, running in Slum. Buoy now finds Slumsational. Can he kill him? Can't quite do it quick enough. And the Geminate attack, not quite enough. Nathaximus now needs to run away. Does just barely have enough for time lapse. And if he does, he's actually going to get even closer to Slumsational and Shazam. Slumsational, he needs to be a little bit careful here. Princess is running in. No Doom available to him. Does have Hellbear Smash. Shazam here, though, throwing out a lot of damage. Rumpelstiltskin throwing out some good damage as well. Getting an easy and nice kill on Princess there. And now it looks like Korra wanted to make something happen on the Shazam. Some nice wards going down. And it looks like Nathaximus having a fairly hard time as well. And of course, if things get a little hairy, you have Rumpelstiltskin always having Chain Frost now if Shazam gets caught out, and he has indeed. He does indeed fall. He wants to bait this out, but of course Korra as well as Tilted not falling for it. Slum of the Earth, though, does run in, does get one shot on Korra. It's not going to be enough. And of course they do have Chain Frost up on Rumpelstiltskin. Of course now has the mana to do his double combo there. So they more likely than not do want to fight this, and he's got to be very careful of Buoy running in and just ulting him and electric vortexing him so he doesn't get, doesn't get a cast off. Now Korra in a little bit of a scary place. If he does have any, oh, just opts to actually put him to shame, and now this might be a dead Rumpelstiltskin. It should be. Buoy does pick him off, but not before Rumpelstiltskin gets the regen rune. Not a really good trade, though, when it comes right down to it. Buoy is having a fairly good time all on his own. If we look at the net worth, he's actually leading the chart. He has quite a few kills under his belt. 4 kills at the moment. It's quite a few deaths, actually, surprisingly, as well. Did not know it was that many. But if we look at the gold graph, it's actually starting to even out a little bit at the moment because those last few engagements went very nicely for McRoberts High. Not only that, the experience now very good. I shouldn't say very good, very close still as well. And Slumsational still has Sakuchi. He wants to set something up, still has it for quite a while, and now trying to make something happen down here on the bot lane. Could not quite get tilted with that spin under his belt, of course, as well. Now it looks like Buoy just farming up mid. Doesn't have as much farm as he really would like at the moment. Only having a Void Stone. Still making a lot of work happen, however, for his team. Getting some nice pickoffs, setting up some nice kills for himself. And now it looks like Korra does not want to be this close, of course, to Slum of the Earth. But he is just going to be planting down a nice defensive ward there for his teammates. Trying to make sure everybody has a pretty good time. And if we actually look at what am I going for? I'm going for the levels. If we actually look at the levels, we'll see that it is a very even game at the moment, with possibly a slight edge in levels. I don't know. You have your kind of Weaver is supposed to be one of your main heroes on this dire side. He's actually a little bit below some of the other heroes, so pretty damn even game at the moment. But now a nice port in by Bowie. They want to go on Laurie. A Tilted, though, doing a nice spin here. Laurie, though, getting stunned as well. And everybody's here. Cora's here. Princess is here as well. And they get that nice kill on Laurie. Not going to be able to get Slumsational, however, because of that Sakuchi, guaranteeing that he's getting out of there in time. Tilted still has an ult available. Cora maybe trying to bait something out a little bit. Slumsational, though, is going to be running away. And Lich, as well as Slumsational, they're not going to be in here. They're not going to be even thinking about fighting this until Chain Frost is back up. And now Slum of the Earth needs to be very careful here. And this is what I'm talking about. Cupcakes has been all over the map. They've been very mobile this entire game. And they have to know that indeed that is one of the illusions. They have this nice aggressive ward here, giving themselves all the vision on the high ground they could possibly want, and Tilted knows that he's not seen at the moment. They might have seen him actually come this way, but now Princess looks like he's trying to bait them out here as well. Slum of the Earth is running up. Not sure if Tilted wants to actually fight this. He does have enough for a spin as well as ult combo, and they more likely, they do indeed just barely see him through the trees right here, and that's going to mean that Cupcakes retreats up into a ball and are not going to get as much farm and as much out of this map as they would have liked there. Tilted wasting a lot of time in this jungle at the moment. And Tilted, it actually looks like, trying to get on the Slumsational, always has Sakuchi available. It looks like he's trying to bait something out. Bait out an ult maybe, but actually just some horrible misplay there by Slumsational. Should have popped that Sakuchi much earlier, would have guaranteed himself out. Of course, looks like it was trying to bait something a little bit out with Rumpelstiltskin, but nonetheless just could not pull the trigger fast enough. And now maybe lag being the case of that, not sure. Looks like it had a pretty good time, enough time there to actually get it done, but nonetheless falling to that very easy kill by Tilted. Now looks like Princess as well as Nathaxum is trying to get onto Laurie. Will these bugs latch? It looks like he's barely getting out of the way. Does indeed. He is doomed, which does quite a bit of damage. It's not going to be quite enough, however. And at the moment, this Chaos Knight is actually fairly under-farmed at the moment. He only has 4,000, of course, is behind. He's only really middle of the pack. And if we look at it, the supports in this game are not having a terrific time. I mean, not too bad for supports, really, but nonetheless. Laurie, though, should be much higher, would like to be much higher in this game as far as the net worths are concerned. Tilted, though, finding quite a bit of farm himself, and is actually really close to getting his Scepter at the moment. Going to make those Omni Slashes all that much scarier, of course. Going to be making his level 2 pretty much a level 3. Level 3 even a just a little bit different. And of course they do know that he's here because of this ward. They see him right here through the trees. So nothing going to be a surprise for McRoberts High. Slum of the Earth, though, still very far forward despite the pings. And of course no ult, however, on Tilted, but Slum of the Earth now will fall here as well. Trying to TP out of it. Can he get it? He does indeed in the last second. Shazam now trying to go on Tilted. He's still got 9 seconds until his ult. That healing ward doing a lot of work, making sure, but now actually gets brought down to the bottom ground. I don't see him getting out of this one, folks, and does indeed not. Slumsational now, Shakuchiing can always be here, be a nuisance. He wants to do as much damage to Bowie as possible. Needs to be very careful, though. Can actually set up a nice kill here if he can get it. And now Bowie, though, turning around with Electric Vortex. Princess, though, Shazam all over them. A nice stun, 3 seconds as well by Laurie. And now it looks like Cora being caught out as well. And that was a very nice engagement for McRoberts High. I thought for sure Slum of the Earth was going to be caught out. He was caught out. Barely living, not sure his HP there. Nonetheless, just incredibly close there. And that's going to be close for Rumpelstiltskin, finishing off his mech. It looks like Nathaxum is trying to get this kill, and he will indeed because of that Geminate attack. It looks like Rumpelstiltskin, realizing that it is a lost cause, decides not to teleport down there. And he's going to get all that much closer to this mech at the moment. Laurie now getting fairly close to that armlet. Not quite there yet, but he is getting there. That's going to, of course, make his damage all that much stronger, gonna make him all that much burstier, and is actually still has Reality Rift, still has Chaos, but has actually gotten no points in Chaos Strike at the moment. And a lot of times you do like getting that, not early, but kind of into this mid-game area where if you get some nice crits, some lucky crits, you can have a fairly good time here. Buey, though, needs to be a little bit careful. Not so much, actually. He's got an ultimate orb. He's got quite a bit of HP. Pretty much no chance that Larry could burst him down. Would have to pop an ult, and of course, he's just gonna ult away himself. But now it looks like Nathaximus, as well as Tilted, trying to set something up. Rumpelstiltskin, there is a Chain Frost available. There's an ult now going on Slum of the Earth. Too many bounces, however, and there is yet no eggs on Tilted, so he might actually get into a little bit of trouble here. It was not quite enough to kill 2 heroes, to kill 3 heroes, and now all of McRoberts High is down here. They have left Larry up top to farm, and of course, with this kind of like pestering attack formation that's going down, with this very defensive, nice play by McRoberts High, making sure that nothing is got out or by Tilted, that opens up a lot of space for Larry. He can go up top, he can farm as much as he wants. He can finish off his armlet at the very least. And now looks like Tilted throwing down that healing ward. Not sure if it's going to be enough, however, and he might be completely caught out here. And the trees now not able to save him, not when there's a Timbersaw on the other team. And it looks like McRoberts High having a nice bit of fortune in this game. Still very even in the experience, but the gold going a little bit more in favor of McRoberts High. Still not even at 2,000 though, honestly. At 20 minutes, 22 minutes at that is not a big difference whatsoever, though. Weaver, most heroes here actually getting a little bit late on their items. It looks like Larry has not actually got that armlet to him yet. Now Korra needs to run out of here. No, Larry cannot find him in time for a rift, for a stun, sadly. Buey, though, is just running around as best he can. Has a regen, of course, and a storm with regen. That's almost a free kill pretty much every single time if he wants there to be. Of course, he now knows that Slum of the Earth is going to be running in there. Has actually opted to get a cloak, which I actually quite like, of course. Combines with the magic resistance. Does not, I don't think it stacks as you would think it would. It's more of a multiplicative stack. Nonetheless, will make it so that this Storm Spirit, one of the biggest damage dealers on this team at the moment, will not actually be doing that much damage. Of course, Juggernaut's Omni Slash will still be doing all the physical damage he could ever want, meaning that Viper is not actually gonna be protected too much from that, but a lot more of the damage from this team is very, very magical. I mean, right at the moment, you have Nathaximus has not hit any big damage items at the moment. Is actually going for a BKB, it looks like. Buey, though, has been the biggest damage dealer, and pretty much all of his damage is exclusively magic. He is still hitting very, very nicely, and now it looks like McRoberts High getting a nice deny on this top tower. They are grouping up as 5. They want to make a fight happen. Rubik does not have a spell stolen at this moment. Of course, Weaver is always here to get a spell. He wants it really, really badly, however. Can't pick it off and throws down a nice sentry there. Just going to guarantee that pretty much they can get this top tower. It does indeed look like they want to push in here. Excuse me. Whereas Cupcakes is very content just to split push around the map. You have, of course, Weaver, a very strong split pusher, very strong hero in and of himself, just to stay around and be annoying. And just pretty much try and get as much out of this map as humanly possible. You're going to be trading a tier 1 mid for a tier 1 top. That's not a bad trade. Laria might want to even pop Phantasm at this moment with Armlet toggled on, of course, just to get as much damage on this tower as quick as possible, but not quite doing that yet. Looks like Tilted, as well as the rest of his friends on Cupcakes, just do not have the DPS to go up against something like a Chain Frost, Slum of the Earth, Corrosive Skin as well. And now it looks like they are indeed maybe rotating into this jungle, rotating into this enemy jungle, and maybe trying to set up a nice little push on this bottom tower. Hard to say at the moment. But now there is a haste rune available. Buey might want to pick that up for himself. Of course, very scary as a Storm Spirit. Korra might want it as well. Does indeed get it. And now with that, they are going to want to set up at least something as far as a gank is concerned. If we look at the net worth at the moment, we actually see the difference in basically the fact that how they chose to lane both of these teams here. You had your support as Crystal Maiden picking up whatever gold she could from these camps with Frostbite. But really, when it comes right down to it, the rest of the main heroes on Cupcakes have found the farm they wanted, or at least some of it. I mean, if we look at it, we have most of them, pretty much every other one of them, above 7,000, and that's a nice place to be against McRoberts High. Of course, you have your Rubik, you have your Lich, the other supports, pretty much at support level gold, but everybody else in the team for Cupcakes sitting at, you know, nice 7,000, more than double the supports, and that is a lovely place to be. It now looks like they might want to be going for a Roshan, maybe just baiting it out. Not sure how I feel about that. I suppose, of course, with Healing Word, very possible to do. Doom always has Doom available, and it does not look like McRoberts High suspects a thing. And, of course, Roche falling very slowly. They do not have a Medallion of Courage to make this that much quicker. They don't have any negative armor in their team to set this up either. Nonetheless, this is going to be a completely free Roche or Cupcakes here, and that might be enough to turn this tide for them. However, they are leading quite substantially in gold. I shouldn't even say quite substantially. At 26 minutes, 5,000 is nothing. It's one team fight. Sitting at 2,000 difference in experience for themselves. That's all pretty much just a Roshan. So, I mean, really not that much difference. Still a very close game, anybody's game. Weaver, though, has picked up a BKB for himself, meaning that those stuns that everybody was a little bit worried about, Timbersaw's burst, Chaos Knight's stuns, as well as Slumsational's ability to telekinesis might be very nice. And now a smoke coming out by McRoberts High. They're trying to turn around. Can they find a Buoy all on his lonesome? They do not see him in time. Can they get to him in time? He does see them there. Wants to ult though. However, Cora's here. Gonna throw down an innate freezing field. Shazam though doomed right away. Can't do enough. Chain Frost doing a lot of work here though. Phantasm being popped to eat up those Chain Frosts. Laurie very, very low, however. It's not gonna be enough. And it looks like Slum of the Earth might be taken out here as well. One Doom for 4. A very nice trade. Timbersaw not able to provide any amount of damage in that fight there. Of course, was doomed right from the get-go. And this is what I said. Doom, a very strong counter to Timbersaw if he just wants to get it out. Decided, you know what, Timbersaw's continual DPS, his ability throughout chakrams to actually burst down some of our big ticket heroes is going to be too strong compared to one Chain Frost. And now Shazam just overstaying his welcome. When you see that there's 4 heroes, I should say, going for this tier 2, you just need to decide, you know what, I can only defend in base. Slumsational, what are you doing here? Of course, Buoy is here as well. Has his Lincolns, is going to be all that much harder to kill with only 2 stuns to their name. And if we look at these lineups, it pretty much looks like Cupcakes lineups just that much more slippery. That much harder to kill than McRoberts High, of course. You have Storm Spirit. He has now picked up a Lincoln's. Weaver usually does pick up a Lincoln's of his own. Is actually, I mean, he's about 1,300 away from getting a Lincoln's of his own now. And if he does get those, they're going to have to basically pile on their stuns. Tilted can always Blade Fury away from stuns, can Omni Slash as well. So a very slippery team setup for Cupcakes at the moment. And Buoy now is indeed at 3,800 gold. Not sure what he's going to be buying into. Might just want to get a Bloodstone here, of course, for continual Ball Lightning spam. Not to mention, he could actually go for a Sheep Stick, of course, guaranteeing that he can set up some nice kills on pretty much everybody on this McRoberts High team. We see that now the gold graph dipping even more in favor of Cupcakes at the moment. That is that tower. That's that big team fight. 4 for 1. Very nice for them. Difference in experience mimics that exactly. Here we can see where it all went wrong for McRoberts High. And now they're going to need to set up some nice kills here. Some nice team fights here. It looks like Shazam wanting to hit that level 16. Wanting that level 3 ult as well. Buoy actually, not a bad pickup if he would like to. An Orchid, of course, just guaranteeing they have another silence in every team fight. Very, very strong, of course. If you can just Ball Lightning in, silence Lich before he throws a Chain Frost, burst him down, he's going to be gone. Timbersaw, as long as he's silenced, he's not going to be able to do anything. So I think possibly an Orchid, one of the best pickups available to them. And now it looks like Cora is warding. They do know that he's there. Not going to be able to actually get to him in time, it looks like. Cora actually picking up power treads over Tranks. Understandably, though, of course, getting that +8 into strength on Crystal Maiden actually makes him just that much less squishy when it comes right down to it. He doesn't die pretty much instantly this later on in the game. Might want a few more, but of course with Force Staff and that little bit of extra tank, Korra, Crystal Maiden will be a little bit more resilient. Of course, though, with Tranks, would have been moving around the map that much faster, but was still very, very able to set up some beautiful ganks. So nonetheless, it looks like it has not deterred this Crystal Maiden from setting up any ganks anyways. Of course, while I was talking there, it looks like Rubik as well as Chaos Knight picking up a nice kill on Weaver. They threw down a sentry just for that, and it looks like more likely than not, just a chain stun on the Weaver. Didn't pop his BKB, maybe. More likely than not. This is all speculation, and really I shouldn't do that, so I'm not gonna. Zap. Lowry, though, has picked up a double damage. Of course, that does not transfer to Phantasms. And now grouped up as 4 in the mid. Do they want to push this? You, of course, have Buey able to split push this. Has picked up an Orchid for himself. And a very nice pickup, I think, not only for the ability to silence, but Slum of the Earth's corrosive skin. Now, of course, not as strong. His hood, not his casual hood, not as strong as well. Because, of course, Orchid makes you attack that much faster. Gives him a huge amount of damage, of course. 30, it gives him 55 damage. That is a lot for a Storm Spirit to have. And just look at how fast he's attacking, doing very, very nicely. Is just gonna get, oh, actually no, is not gonna get Frost Blasted because of course Lincoln Sphere blocks targeted spells, so he's doing A-okay. That's Aximus. Very, very close to getting his own Lincolns here. Will more likely than not turn that Ring of Health into it, be all that resilient. Not sure if he actually wants to do that, however, might go straight for damage, seeing as how he does have a BKB at his disposal at the moment. Usually you kind of either get Lincolns or BKB, but nonetheless still could get it, still could be that resilient, and I think not a bad idea. Of course, once Chaos Knight does get to level 16, his Phantasms will be that much scarier, but Tilted has smoked up, has his eggs. Looks like he's actually going for, might be actually going Refresher with this Oblivion Staff. Has only picked up one, hasn't picked up any other items yet, so we don't know yet if it is an Orchid. The Orchid, of course, not a bad pickup as well. All of the silences would be lovely. Princess, though, is being caught out, however. Korra not able to save him, however, and all the bursts coming out does not have the mana to doom anybody, and that's A-okay. Korra being caught out as well. Looks like Tilted as well as Buey wanting to set something up. Tilted needs to be able to run away from this. Cast his ult. It's not going to be enough to kill everybody. Sensational needs to be careful. The mech being used, it does do a quite bit of damage. Buey here to clean up, but he is able to get away from this, and that is a 3-for-1, and not only that, it's your Doom, it's your Juggernaut for a single Rubik. That is not a good trade, and Buey will be able to get out of this one alive, and now actually has a regen. Might want to turn this up onto their heads, but while that's all happening, you have Nathaximus doing quite a bit of damage to this tower, doing his very best. Still doesn't have a BKB, of course, which would be absolutely lovely to have against Viper Strike. But now, with that nice little pickoff coming up, there it is, ramping a little bit back up. Still anybody's game at the moment. There's the experience and the gold graph ramping a little bit more up for McRoberts High. They can still take this with some beautiful team fights, some nice pickoffs, maybe some smokes. But really, the queen of smokes at the moment has indeed been Korra, picking up another smoke, trying to set things right in her head, and just guarantee a little bit of vengeance for herself. Excuse me, just drinking some delicious tap water. Now looks like Tilted did get a little bit of a setback there. Still not really sure what he's buying into. It does indeed look, with this Perseverance, of course, thought maybe it was going to be a Battlefield, but of course it's way too late to get that. Is going to be going for an actual Refresher Juggernaut Ags, of all things. Pretty much a one-trick Ultimate Pony. And I've never seen it, but I have to say I do like it. Korra needs to be a little careful here. They do have vision right here so that they know that nobody's lying in wait for him right here. And now some nice defensive vision coming out by McRoberts High. They do not want to get caught off guard again. Of course, though, Buey does have this smoke available. They might want to use it. Cora throwing out some nice wards here as well, just guaranteeing some vision. But they know it's right there. You might want to throw down this sentry, Rumpelstiltskin. Get a nice free ward kill, like an easy 50G for yourself. It looks like this illusion not doing anything but upsetting the golems. Was not able to deny any camps, any pulls, anything at all. Buey needs to be a little bit careful here. They don't have a silence at their disposal, so Buey, of course, is pretty much always going to be safe. Slumsational needs to be careful here. Cora, though, does force staff in. Nathaximus, however, doing a lot of damage, has actually opted to pick up that Desolator, and some beautiful play by Slumsational there, actually, picking up a Sakuchi in the last moments of that fight, Sakuchiing away, making sure that that Gemini attack does not actually land. And like I was saying, Weaver actually opting not to turn this Ring of Health into a Lincoln's, instead going for a Desolator, going for that damage, which I think is actually the right play. Overall is a very, very hard hero to actually pin down innately. With this BKB, if things get a little hairy, you can always pop that. You don't need Lincolns to constantly be in the fight now. And with Desolator, is really going to be able to throw out quite a bit of damage against McRoberts High. Rumpelstiltskin, however, has picked up a Ghost Scepter for himself, meaning that no longer will he be preyed upon by this Weaver. It now looks like Buey is here. Slumsational, though, can't lift him. No, actually, indeed, did not even try, it looks like. Looks like he tried to pop it with a Force Staff, and they just cannot quite find him. 5 to do nothing. And if you talk about space created in this game, that's all Buey is doing. Pulling 5 heroes down there, guaranteeing that this top tower does indeed fall, and no deny coming out for McRoberts High here. Just a big, long Fade Bolt for them. And Doom now has his Assault. Kurias has a mechanism of his own. So going to be fairly difficult to actually take down now. Has a lot of armor. Looks like Buey has an invisibility, has his regen, or had it going actually. Just constantly spamming Static Remnants. Trying to set up a little bit of a bomb here. He must be spamming these for days. Not sure how many you can actually have out at a moment. Looks like 2, 3, quite a few. Just trying to set up a little bit of a bomb here. And now a smoke coming out by McRoberts High. They are going in for this Roshan. They do really, really want this. Laurie has hit level 16, has this level 3 Phantasm. And now Slum of the Earth is going to be picking up the double damage. They always do have Chain Frost available if things get a little bit out of hand. Now Cora does indeed see it. Not sure if they want to go in and fight this, though. Buey really does need to go in there and silence this Rumpelstiltskin right away, though. Nice pull down by Laurie. Princess cannot get a Doom off. Gets it on Slumsational of all people. That's not who you want to do, though. Jugalt doing a lot of work here as well. It can't quite be enough, especially with these Phantasms. And Buey now melting as well. Rumpelstiltskin falls. It's not going to be enough, though. Tilted can't do anything here. And now a buyback from Buey, just trying to guarantee that nothing is actually here. Nathaximus, though, trying to clean up, pops the BKB, and now trying to clean up with this Desolator, and he might actually do it. Laurie, though, incredibly low. Has to be running here. Buey here, though, guaranteeing the kill on Laurie. Shazam, overstaying this welcome. No longer can you Spider-Man away while you are orchided. And I think a very nice buyback by Buey. And will this be a Roshan for them? It does indeed look like it. No buybacks coming out from McRoberts High here. And can they, even if they wanted to? Yes, indeed they can. Nobody can get there fast enough, however. And now a nice pick-off, a nice engagement for actually both teams when it comes right down to it. But when it comes at the final stages of it, Cupcakes coming out ahead of that. They get the Aegis. They get an entire team wipe instead of, I think, no, it might have been, instead of just 4 heroes, they get 5. They get an Aegis as well. So overall, a little bit more in favor for Cupcakes. And not anybody's favorite fight there, of course. Princess forced to doom a half-health Rubik. He wasn't really doing too much. Cora brought down, was actually dead before the fight even started. A nice reality rift there, bringing him all the way down. And Buey not able to actually do what he wanted there. Nathaximus did come in a little bit late as well, not to mention Tilted. And with, of course, Phantasm being up just to counter this Omni Slash, He actually did, indeed. Looks like he popped Refresher. Not sure if he actually has the mana to do all that. 350, 350, 700. I think he popped Refresher, didn't even have the mana to cast it again. Might have to actually use wand charges just to try and guarantee it. Looks like he possibly could. Doom, though, finding a nice pick off now. A little bit of engagement going down. Princess, though, will fall, and that is not an even trade. A Lich for a Doom. That is not what you want to see now. Tilted does run, and he does have his ult available. Who's he going to get? He gets Shazam. He does indeed get Rubik as well. Tilted now Nathaximus as well as Korra trying to set some stuff up. Laurie, though, no Phantasm available. You do not want to run in without that ult use. Slum of the Earth now falling as well, and that is another team wipe right there. And who has buyback? You have Timbersaw, you have Viper, and that's it. And I think, if anything, that's going to be at least one lane of racks for Cupcakes. And of course, Timbersaw not having to buy back, has that Bloodstone he's going to be, but now there's the Viper buyback. Rubik will be back in 10. Chain Frost as well will be available in 10 seconds. It's not going to be fast enough, however. They actually can't get back here in time. Viper might have wanted to wait for that buyback a little bit longer, honestly. Right now, when everybody's actually back, now Nathaximus has thrown out some money bugs, just trying to make sure that nobody gets here. Now he has actually finished off that Linken's, and with a Linken's and a BKB, this Weaver is going to be pretty much impossible to kill. Tilted now, looks like he does have enough mana to actually cast 2 Juggernaut ults, and I would love to see that happen. Now smoke going down for McRoberts High, realizing they are a little bit behind, quite a bit behind at the moment. They really need to make something happen. They will find Nathaximus here, however, but no one able to throw out any amount of detection fast enough. And now, because of that, that is going to be a wasted smoke. Nathaximus with ult, or I shouldn't say ult, with haste under his belt, making sure he can get away there. And now that is a failed smoke by McRoberts High, and that is not what you want to have see. When you are this far behind, you really do need to make some big plays. You need to find some beautiful pickoffs with smoke, and once that happens and you are not able to actually capitalize on it, I mean, that is not what you want to see happen. And now it looks like McRoberts High, they need to realize this is pretty much forfeit. You don't want to fight here. The high ground's right here, especially against somebody like Buoy, like a Storm Spirit. You absolutely hate to fight on these high ground situations, especially when you don't have vision. Simple ball lightning from there to there, over and over. It can get so frustrating. They get the deny on their tower. Not sure how I feel about that, though. Nathaximus, though, Sensational getting 3-shotted. Can't do anything. Nathaximus does BKB, but it's not going to be enough. Buoy now does pop in. There's a Chain Frost, but with nothing to bounce to, Korra is going to live fine. Rumpelstiltskin now is going to be caught out. He's no way he's getting out of this one. And now it looks like both supports falling for McRoberts High. Tilted still has his double ult available. Oh my god, Tilted, just use it. Get a Mjolnir. I want to see some sparks fly. And now it looks like this could be the final push for McRoberts High. Does indeed look like Cupcakes, of course, with that extra minus armor from Desolator, as well as his healing, where it can basically push in at their leisure, can do whatever he wants. There is one ult going down. Can I see a refresher? Can obviously use it. Pop to the refresher, doesn't need ults again. Not going to be enough, though, to actually take either of these heroes down, it looks like. Still, though, very lovely to see. Got to see it at the very least. Could have actually Blade Fury'd out of that, but maybe being a little bit of bait for Buoy. Does pop in, has a Scythe, has Linken's, has an Orchid. Laurie, though, how much HP does this guy have? Still hasn't actually popped Armlet yet. And now it looks like Shazam, as well as Laurie, doing fine. No, actually does fall to Nathaximus. He's starting to do a lot of damage, has a Demon Edge here. And now it looks like they are indeed just going for Mega Creeps, trying to guarantee that victory, of course. Does not look like McRoberts High has a team that might be able to go up against. Chain Frost being used out. Tilted, though, no spin available to him. It is bouncing quite a bit, though not to the heroes they want him to. Rumpelstiltskin is going to fall here. Nathaximus getting that Shazam, though, will be falling as well. And it looks like some nice crits coming out of Juggernaut there. And they do indeed have Mega Creeps. There's the GG. Very nice game there, of course, but it looks like Cupcakes will be taking the 3rd spot in the Ancient Trials tournament coming up, I believe, starting next week. Not 100% on that. Don't quote me. This has been Briefcase bringing you another Ancient Trials game, and I think the last one of the evening. Thank you so much for watching or tuning in, if anybody did, and thanks again.